I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This time out, we are joined by a very special guest. We have Jay Porter here from Radial Engineering. Jay, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you
Glad
being
to be here.
Product specialist at Radial Engineering.
Absolutely.
So what does that mean? What do you do as a product specialist?
Well, it can be a lot of things. I've been with the company for 9 years now, so it can be just absolutely knowing the product through and through and helping our customers figure things out, and also being involved with product development, working between our sales and our engineers to kind of bring a product to market and figure out its feature set, and then beat it up in the studio and see how it does and see if it's ready for the real world.
Nice, that's got to be fun.
Yeah, it can be a lot of fun for sure.
So you get to play with all the new stuff before anybody else ever gets to see it.
Absolutely.
Nice,
yes.
Nice. And you brought one of those new products with you today. We
Yes.
have the Space Heater here from Radial Engineering. Tell us what this is.
The Space Heater is a 8-channel summing amp, but it can also be used as an effects unit because it is equipped with 12AX7 tubes for anything from a little bit of warmth to full-blown distortion. So it can be used for guys that want to sum out of the box. Bring an analog mixer, come out of Pro Tools, and sum 8 channels together to a stereo output. It can also be used as just simply an effect as a hardware insert within your DAW, and use it to create a little bit of warmth to over-the-top, speakers ripped apart distortion, if you'd like that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us about the rig that you have here today.
Sure. So this is the Space Heater. So this is 8 channels connected to the Universal Audio Apollo in this case to just be my interface in and out of Pro Tools. So yes, what you see here is the 8 channels across. We have level and drive controls for each of those channels. So the level acts like a master fader, and the drive controls how much signal you're putting through the tube.
Okay.
Yeah. So the tube sections can be turned on or off. Each output is transformer coupled, so you can use this as a very clean summing mixer, or you can turn on the tube and start to increase the drive and bring the level up and bring the amount of distortion up accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there isn't just one tube in here, there's a tube for each pair of channels, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. There's 4 12AX7s wired in stereo, so you can use this as an 8 individual channel box, because you're just using one side of the tube to get distortion. Now certain things are shared across the tube because they are set up as stereo pairs. When you are using it as a summing mixer, your odd channels become left, your even channels become right, and the different settings that you have are shared across the tube because it is just one tube. So you've got the high pass filter, but then also you have this heat switch. And the heat switch is changing the plate voltage on the tube. So you can put it down to 35 volts and starve the tube, or you can put it to 70 volts, which we consider a moderate setting for it, or 140, which gives it lots of juice, which means it's going to take a lot more level to start breaking up. When you starve it, it takes very little, it starts breaking up, so it just changes the type of distortion you get out of that.
I see. So the lower the plate voltage, then the more distortion, or the earlier you get the onset of distortion?
Exactly, yeah.
What's happening there?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And then for each input, you have a separate level and drive control or gain control, if you want to think of it that way.
Correct.
And a master section over here?
Yep, the master section over here. So your mix bus has its own volume control and can be turned on and off, and then a dedicated headphone output as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And when you go around the back side of the unit, which you can't see right now, there's actually balanced hardware inserts, send and receive hardware insert jacks, TRS for all 8 channels as well. So if you are using it as a summing mixer, you can patch your other analog gear, EQs or comps, directly into this box after the tube stage, and then that'll come out the end out of the 2 mix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So very flexible for using it as a summing mixer as well as a kind of color processor, if you will.
For sure.
Can you give us an example of what this sounds like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just do a quick little drum demo here. And so we've got drums coming into channel 1 and 2, and I'm just going to leave it bypassed for the start here. So right now it's bypassed. The level's at about 2 o'clock, so we can turn this on. And it's a pretty close match there as far as the level goes. On and bypassed.
Okay.
And now we're going to turn on the tube. You can hear things just start to get a little bit crunchy there with the drives set at about, I guess, about 10 o'clock here. And then as we increase the drives to about 12, we should back off on the level because the signal's going up. You can hear it start to get a bit more crunchy. And you can bring it right into saturation level pretty quickly and the analog bit crushing, if you will, and kind of really destroy things. But back it off all the way, and just to warm things up, we'll turn the drives right off. Now we've got no output at all. We've turned the levels all the way up, and then we just start to bypassed. And if folks are listening through studio monitors at home, they'll really hear how this can just widen up and fatten up that drum mix really, really quickly. So kind of a fun way to use it on drums.
Before you stop that, can you, or you've already stopped it, give us an example of what happens when you move from 140 volts down to, say, 35.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll just exaggerate a little bit more here, so we'll back off the levels. So bypassed, in. So right now we're at the full 140 volts. Now we bring it down to 70. And you hear the level drop, but you hear a bit more rich distortion, so we'll bring the level back up a bit here to compensate. But you hear that's really starting to break up quite a bit now.
Right.
And then 35. Again, we'll back that off, and then as you start to bring it up, 70. And then 140, and brings up the volume again as you put more juice through that too.
Right. So there's kind of an inverse relationship between the drive on the front end versus the level on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll do a little bass guitar here because it's even more evident on the bass. Solo this here. So right now we're bypassed, and again I'll start at that 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock position. So there's just the transformer, and in bass you can hear that just start to saturate and get a little warmer all on its own. And then as we bring in the tube, you can hear a bit of that grit come up. And again into that. And then same when you start to reduce the voltage here. Hear how early that starts to break up.
Right. So you're at 35. You were at 35 volts.
35. Now we brought up to 70. And then the 140 setting.
Right.
So, yeah, it can be a lot of fun just to start playing around with it and add certain textures to the sounds and kind of pop them up. And a lot of guys using it, myself included, in place of a compressor, because you start to apply a little bit of distortion and kind of brings things out in the mix without ruining the dynamics. And people don't realize you don't have to just destroy it and make it sound all gritty. You can just use it subtly and just bring things out in the mix by doing that.
Right. That's actually a very versatile processor. You think of it just as a distortion generator, but it really is doing a lot when you're working with those different combination of the input level versus the output level versus the tube voltage.
Yeah.
It really is very versatile.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you have a guitar example to show us as well?
I do. So it's a pretty clean guitar. Bypassed right now. On and bypass, so that's just the transformer. We'll bring in that tube. Close level match, just adding a little bit of grit to that clean guitar, making it seem like someone had an overdrive pedal maybe in place.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So so you can go in after the fact and really change the character of what's happening there.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And works really nice in parallel with things too, when you have a clean instrument and then bring up some of that really gritty track beside it in the mix. And again, you don't hear that same level of distortion we were just hearing. It just makes that instrument come up forward in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sounds great.
Thank you.
And really tremendously versatile.
Yeah.
I can see where you'd want to have this on your output from your interface and be able to apply that character whenever you choose to do so, whether you want to do something really subtle or whether you want to really go over the top and trash it completely.
Definitely.
Right.
And you can't resist.
I bet.
You end up trashing a lot of things completely. It just ends up being a lot of fun.
You have to learn restraint, though, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome that it gives you that capability, though, 'cause you can go that far if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Jay, thanks so much for coming in and showing this to us. It's really a fun box. I can't wait to put it through its paces and start listening to that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Lots of options there.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have fun.
I'm going to. Great to see you.
All right, thanks, Mitch.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Take care.
I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.